Hi, once again welcome to Mahabubabad Education YouTube channel. Myself, Somalingam Uppula, School Assistant Biological Science from ZPHS Penigonda. Today our topic is Central Nervous System, and as we know, the control and coordination in animals is completely maintained by two important systems. As we know, they are nervous system as well as endocrine system. So in this video today we are going to discuss the structure of central nervous system. The central nervous system is made up of two important parts. They are brain and spinal cord. CNS, Central Nervous System, contains mostly two important parts. They are brain and spinal cord. Brain is the highest center for control and coordination in our body. Brain is the highest center for control and coordination. So brain is very smooth and very important organ in our body. Proportionately, brain is the large organ comparatively in all other animals in our body, which has approximately 1400 grams in weight. And of course, brain, which is covered by a bony cage in the head region. One of the strongest bones in the body, the cranium, skull, which are inside the head. Now brain is covered by a bony cage, is made up of skull, cranium bones, which is so important to give the protection to the brain. So skull or cranium, which is a bony structure, a bony cage, which has the ability to save the brain from external injuries. And of course, brain and spinal cord completely covered by very thin three membranes. Brain and spinal cord covered by three thin membranes known collectively as meninges. Three membranes are there around the brain and spinal cord are known collectively as meninges. Their names respectively from lower side, pia mater, arachnoid and dura mater. Between the membranes there is an important fluid. It is known as cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, important fluid which acts as a medium for the brain. So cerebrospinal fluid which supplies nutrients to the brain tissue as well as which gives protection also. So the cells in the brain and spinal cord, the nourishment is maintained by cerebrospinal fluid, a fluid which present between the meninges. So now here a bony cage, cranium, skull and meninges collectively 24/7 protection is given to the brain by these two important parts known as cranium, skull as well as meninges. And as we know, brain is the highest part for the control and coordination in our body. For the sake of our convenience, brain is divided into three parts. They are forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Brain is divided into three parts. They are forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Now the forebrain consists of mostly two important parts. They are cerebrum as well as diencephalon. So now we are going to discuss thoroughly the importance and structure of the cerebrum. Cerebrum, the first part of the forebrain, which is the largest part in the brain tissue, that is why which is also known as large brain. Cerebrum is the important part which is more than 900 grams, approximately 1 kilo in weight. The large brain has two equal halves. Cerebrum, the largest part of the brain, divided into two equal halves are known as cerebral hemispheres. cerebrum, the largest part of the brain, which has two equal halves, they are known as cerebral hemispheres. So we have the left and right cerebral hemispheres in the cerebrum. In the cerebrum, when you see the color properly, in the cerebrum, in the large brain, we can see two different zones. Mostly the outer zone, the peripheral portion of the cerebrum appears grayish in color. The center portion of the cerebrum appears whitish in color. I repeat, when you observe the color of the different zones in the cerebrum, the peripheral portion, the outer portion appears mostly in the grayish in color. The center portion appears mostly in the whitish in color. Why? Because in the peripheral portion, most of the cytons of the neurons are present. Due to the cell bodies or cytons of the neurons, the outer portion, the peripheral region of the cerebrum appears the matter known as gray matter. Due to the myelinated axons of the neuron, the center portion of the cerebrum appears whitish in color known as white matter. In the cerebrum, we have two matters. The outer portion occupied by cytons of the neuron appears grayish in color known as gray matter. The center portion of the cerebrum occupied by mostly myelinated axons, that is why the portion appears whitish in color known as white matter. And again, in the cerebrum, due to huge number of convolutions of foldings, we can see some elevations and depressions in the cerebrum. Due to the convolutions in the brain tissue, in the cerebrum, we can see some elevations and depressions. The elevations in the cerebrum due to convolutions are known as gyri. The sulci are known as, the depressions are known as sulci. So due to convolutions, due to some foldings, the tissue on the cerebrum, we have some elevations and depressions. Elevations are known as gyri, depressions are known as sulci. Now the outer portion of the cerebrum is known as cerebral cortex. Due to the foldings, due to elevations and depressions, we have convolutions and the cerebrum are known as, the place is known as cerebral cortex. And again the cerebrum, due to three grooves, cerebrum divided into four lobes. Due to the deep three grooves, cerebrum is divided into four lobes. They are frontal lobe, temporal lobe, parietal lobe and occipital lobe. I repeat, due to the presence of three deep grooves on the cerebrum, it is divided into four lobes. They are frontal lobe, temporal lobe, parietal lobe and finally occipital lobe. Now the two cerebral hemispheres are completely tightly connected by a bundle of neurons known as corpus callosum. Left and right cerebral hemispheres are connected by a structure known as corpus callosum. Now the cerebrum, the large brain, is the highest place for the control and coordination. Now the two lobes known as right and left cerebral hemispheres. Special thing about for the left and right cerebral hemispheres, which is, now the left cerebral hemispheres has the power to control all the parts of the right side of the body. The left cerebral hemisphere has the power to control the right side organs of the body. In the same way, right cerebral hemisphere has the power to control the left side of the body parts. So left cerebral hemisphere controls the parts in the right portion of the body, as well as right cerebral hemisphere controls the organs in the left portion of the body. Now the cerebrum is the highest center for our cleverness, memory, logical thinking, intelligence and some emotions are controlled by the large brain, is also known as cerebrum. Cerebrum is the important center for logical thinking, cleverness, intelligence, memory, and as well as for some emotions. So not only emotions, some important sensations also controlled by cerebrum itself. For example, again cerebrum has visual center, speech center, auditory center, olfactory center also. So different type of sensations, important sensations also controlled by cerebrum by having different centers on the cerebrum. For example, for vision, visual center; for hearing, auditory center; for speech, speech center; for smell, olfactory center, and all these also controlled by different sides of the cerebrum. So in general, cerebrum, the largest part of the brain, also known as the large brain, two equal halves known as left and right cerebral hemispheres. Now the cerebral hemispheres or cerebrum is the important structure for emotions as well as intelligence, cleverness, logical thinking, problem solvingness, and memory. Here is the information about the large brain, cerebrum. Now the second part of the forebrain is diencephalon. Diencephalon is the important part which lies below the cerebrum. Diencephalon is a structure is very important for some more emotions. It has both thalamus, epithalamus, and hypothalamus. Thalamus plays an important role in the endocrine system also. So in the diencephalon, it has both epithalamus and hypothalamus. Also they play important role in the endocrine system. Now the diencephalon is an important place for some emotions like angriness, happiness, sadness, pleasantness, and of course hungriness, even a center for thirsty, and also which plays an important role in the water balance and temperature balance and coolness. So these type of emotions are controlled by the second part of the forebrain known as diencephalon. So diencephalon is the important part of the forebrain which plays an important role in some emotions. So now cerebrum and diencephalon, these two are very important parts in the forebrain. In the next video, we will discuss the remaining parts of the brain. They are midbrain and hindbrain. Okay, thank you.